Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, good burp. That was a good burp. Yeah. Good morning. It seems that I have gotten milk on my screen. Oh, whatever. Whatever. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Say good morning to Grandma. Grandma's here. Say hi, Grandma. Morning, everybody. Hello. Good morning. We're almost done with this book. Can you guys believe it? We are almost done. I need to order more collagen. We are almost out of collagen, my sweet angel. Yes. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, everybody. I'm wondering when our next coffee shipment is going to be coming. We're running awfully low on coffee, but I have a monthly shipment. Where do we think the monthly shipment is, babe? She was able to reset. She's in such a good mood. Good morning, Roxy. Do you feel different? What am I doing? I'm making coffee. Wow, that was rough. Hey, Victoria. Hey, everybody. So it's nothing special. That's funny. Well, you know, at least you got to have a fun time. We had a good time last night, right? It was a good roll for slime. Good morning. I'm organized in the kitchen. Oh. Well, at least you'll have a good body double with us to keep you entertained, right? I hope. This coffee order not arriving on time has been a good lesson for me, and the lesson is in not being a hoarder, because we have a couple of sleeves of coffee. Oh, here's one. See this? So this was a limited edition flavor from Nespresso that I loved, and so I bought extra, and I've been hoarding them ever since. But since our coffee order was late, we had to break into my hoard, and I was like, you know what? They're not only delicious, but we should use them. Then when we move, we don't have to carry them with us. Like, why not drink the coffee that I've been hoarding? But I will tell you, it did make me a little sad. But then I was like, why are you sad? It's delicious. So I guess the moral of the story here is, oh, Autumn started daycare today. Oh my goodness. Sweet baby. Sweet baby. The moral of the story is just use the good stuff. You know what I mean? You can't take it with you. Yeah. You can't take it with you. There's another flavor that oops, I didn't mean to do that. This is another flavor that I've been hoarding. This is the Sunny Vanilla Almond. It's really delicious. So good, right? You know? Should we get another sleeve of it? But like our coffee area where I keep the coffee that, you know, to restock this, it's getting low. No, we have not, Christy. No. We're just barely starting to do the process. Yeah. Just barely starting the process. It's time for your nap. Let's dance. So we can nap. Let's dance so we can nap. Yeah. Dance so we can nap. We can nap. Yes. You want to nap. It's gonna feel so good. It's gonna feel so good. You're looking at moving this time next year. Yeah, we're hoping to move like in August or September is what we're looking at. So that's where we're starting the process now. We have the lease until September, but like obviously we don't want to move all in one day with the baby, so you know. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Honey, you're just drooling all over mommy's shirt. Yeah. You're tired, I know you are. You can take a nap, it's okay. We're planning on our frequency. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, Susan. That's exactly the problem. We want to move into a house. That's the goal. We love living in this building. If there were bigger apartments in this building, we'd probably take one, but there aren't. And with both of us, hey Karen, with both of us working from home, we're at capacity, you know? If we didn't both work from home, this apartment would be perfect because we would be able to, you know, use the slime room as her bedroom, but I need the slime room, you know, so just is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just because we both work from home. We wouldn't need nearly as much space if we didn't work from home, but we do. Yummy coffee for mommy. Delightful. Are you ready for a nap? A little bit? A little bit, you're ready for a nap? Do you want to go in your bouncer or do you want to stay in the wrap with mommy? You don't know. Okay. We got a house 2 years ago. I wish we had gotten it 2 years ago. Because, you know, the way the economy is now, but we did not. Does Puffle work in slime? I don't know. I just got some to test. We can try it if someone reminds me to do it today. The first step is the best. If someone reminds me, I'll do a test today and see what happens with it because I did order some to test that, Roxy. So you read my mind. You read my mind. Oh, that's so good. What do you want, honey? What do you want? You want to rock or do you want to be in the bouncy? What would you like, my sweet? You want to stay with mommy? You're not sure? Yeah, it is, Jen. I'm guessing the answer is no, but it's always worth a try, right? You just got a trailer finally. Oh, that's exciting, like your own. My stepdad had one that we sold when he passed away because it was in a community that we couldn't live in, but it was nice. I want to say it was nice. Possibly different types of slime too. Yeah, I got the 3-pack, so we could test it in different types of slime. Someone just needs to remind me. It's so fun. Pronounce Easter basket. Oh, yeah. I did want to try it, so maybe today we'll do that. Oh, are we taking a nap? Are you sleeping? Oh yeah, we're asleep. What time is it? 8:39. 8:39. Yes. All right. We have closed eyes. Oh. Are we napping? We have closed eyes. Yeah. I've really nailed the morning. Thank you, Liz. I've really nailed, and thank you, Julia, the morning and night schedules, getting her to so it's just the middle of the day that I haven't nailed yet, but like the morning and the night, I've really got down to a science with her. But it's the middle of the day that we're still struggling to nap. But as my sister would say, if you have to choose between having a good day napper or a good night sleeper, you want a good night sleeper, and she is a good night sleeper. So I would rather have her sleep well at night so that I can sleep. But look at this perfect little spiral head. You little spiral head. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's read because we can, because she's out. Are you out like a light? I was about to say, yeah, night sleeper is much more preferred. Much more preferred. Okay. Let us continue on our Hunger Games journey. The card bookmark that, thank you, Liz, thank you. The card bookmark that I've been using does not want to stay in, so we're going to put it in a different spot. But that's because we're almost done. Look at this. We only have this much left. Really hardly anything. We're on chapter 23 today. That is page 303. For those who are keeping track of their pages, page 303. Every cell in my body wants me to dig into the stew and cram it handful by handful into my mouth, but Peta's voice stops me. Hey, we better take it slow on that stew. Remember the first night on the train? The rich food made me sick and I wasn't even starving then. Yeah, you're right, and I honestly could just inhale this whole thing, I say regretfully, but I don't. We're quite sensible. We each have a roll, half an apple, and an egg-sized serving of stew and rice. I make myself eat the stew in tiny spoonfuls, and they even sent us silverware and plates. I was savoring each bite, and when we finish, I stare longingly at the dish. I want more. Yeah, me too. Tell you what, we wait an hour, and if it stays down, then we get to have another serving, Peta says. Okay, agreed, I say. It's gonna be a long hour. Oh, maybe not that long, says Peta. What were you just saying about what before the food arrived? Something about me, no competition, maybe like I was the best thing that ever happened to you? I don't remember saying that last part, I say, hoping it's too dim in here for the cameras to pick up my blushing. Oh, that's right, that's what I was thinking, he says. Scoot over though, will you? I'm freezing. Hey, Isabella, we just started, so you're good. We're barely just one page in. I make room for him in the sleeping bag, and we lean back against the cave wall, my head on his shoulder, his arm wrapped around me. I can feel Hamish nudging me to keep up the act. Okay, well, since we were 5, you never even noticed any other girls? Is that what you're saying? I ask him. Hey, Stephanie. No, I just noticed about every girl. None of them made a lasting impression, though. Except for you, he says. Yeah, I'm sure your parents were thrilled about you liking a girl from the seam, I say. Hardly, but I couldn't care less. Anyway, if we make it back, you won't be a girl from the seam anymore. You're going to be a girl from Victor's Village, he says. And that's right. If we win, we'll each get a house in the part of town reserved for the Hunger Games victors. Long ago, when the games began, the capital had built a dozen fine houses in each district. Of course, in ours, the only one is occupied. Most of the others have never been lived in at all. A disturbing thought hits me. Yeah, but then our only neighbor is gonna be Hamish. Well, that'll be nice, says Peta, tightening his arms around me. You, me, Hamish, very cozy. Picnics, birthdays, long winter nights around the fire retelling old Hunger Games tales. I told you he hates me, I say, but I can't help laughing at the image of Hamish becoming my new pal. Only sometimes. Like, when he's sober, I've never heard him say one negative thing about you, says Peta. Okay, he's never sober, I protest. That's right. Who was it that I'm thinking of? Oh yeah, it's Cinna who likes you. But that's mainly because you didn't try to run when he set you on fire, says Peta. On the other hand, Hamish, well, if I were you, I'd avoid Hamish completely. He totally hates you. I thought you said that I was his favorite, I say. Well, yeah, he hates me more, says Peta. I don't think people in general are his sort of thing. Hey, Brittany, we barely just started. I know that the audience will enjoy having having fun at Hamish's expense. He's been around so long, he's practically an old friend to some of them. And after he head dived off the stage at the reaping, everybody knows him now. By this time, they'll have dragged him out of the control room for interviews about us. No telling what sort of lies he's made up.
He's at something of a disadvantage because most mentors have a partner, another victor to help them, whereas Hamish has to be ready to go into action at any moment, kind of like me when I was in the arena alone. And I wonder how he's holding up with the drinking, the attention, and the stress of trying to keep us alive. It's funny, Hamish and I don't get along well in person, but maybe Peter's right about us being alike because he seems to communicate with me by the timing of his gifts. Like how I knew that I must be close to water when he withheld it, and how I knew the sleeping syrup wasn't just something to ease Peeta's pain, and how I know that I have to play up the romance. I know, she's so snuggly. He hasn't made much effort to connect with Peeta, really. Perhaps he thinks that a bowl of broth would just be a bowl of broth to Peeta, whereas I see the strings attached to it. A thought hits me, and I'm amazed that the question's taken so long to surface in my mind. Maybe it's because I've only recently begun to view Hamish with a degree of curiosity. How do you think he did it? Who? Did what? Peeta asks. Hamish, how do you think he won the games? I say, and Peeta considers this a while before he answers. Hamish is sturdily built, but no physical wonder like Cato or Thresh. He's not particularly handsome, not in the way that causes sponsors to rain gifts on you, and he's so surly. It's hard to imagine anyone teaming up with him. There's only one way that Hamish could have won, and Peeta says it just as I'm reaching this conclusion myself. Oh no, he definitely outsmarted the others, says Peeta, and I nod, letting the conversation drop. But secretly, I'm wondering if Hamish sobered up long enough to help Peeta and me because he thought that we might actually have the wits to survive. Maybe he wasn't always drunk. Maybe in the beginning he tried to help the tributes, and then it got unbearable. It must be hell to mentor 2 kids and then watch them die. I know, right? It is ironic to hear this now. This page is very interesting after the most recent book. Year after year after year, I realize that if I get out of here, that'll become my job too, to mentor a girl from District 12. The idea is so repellent that I thrust it from my mind. About half an hour passed before I decided I could eat again. Peeta was too hungry himself to put up an argument. While I'm dishing up 2 more small servings of lamb stew and rice, we hear the anthem begin to play, and Peeta presses his eye against the crack in the rocks to watch the sky. There's not going to be anything to see tonight, I say, far more interested in the stew than sky. Nothing's happened, or we would have heard a cannon. Katniss, Peeta says quietly. What, should we split another roll too? I ask. Katniss, he repeats, but I find myself wanting to ignore him. I'm going to split one, but I'll save the cheese for tomorrow, I say, and I see Peeta staring at me. What? Thresh is dead, says Peeta. No, he can't be, I say. They must have fired the cannon during the thunder, and I guess we missed it, says Peeta. Are you sure? I mean, it's pouring buckets out there. I don't know how you can even see anything, I say, and I push him away from the rocks and squint into the dark, rainy sky. And for about 10 seconds, I catch a distorted glimpse of Thresh's picture, and then he's gone. Just like that. I slump down against the rocks, momentarily forgetting about the task at hand. Thresh, dead? I guess I should be happy, right? One less tribute to face, and a powerful one too, but I'm not happy. All I can think about is Thresh letting me go and letting me run because of Rue, who died with a spear in her stomach. Are you all right? Asks Peeta, and I give a non-committal shrug. I cup my elbows in my hands, hugging them close to my body. I have to bury the real pain because who's going to bet on a tribute if he keeps sniveling over the deaths of her opponents? Rue was one thing. We were allies. She was so young. But no one will understand my sorrow at Thresh's murder. The words pull me up short. Murder. Thankfully, I didn't say that out loud. This isn't going to win me any points in the arena. What do I say? What I say is, well, it's just, if we didn't win, I wanted it to be Thresh because he let me go, and because of Rue. Yeah, I know, says Peeta, but this means we're just one step closer to District 12, and he nudges a plate of food into my hands. Eat, it's still warm. I take a bite of stew and show that I really don't care, but it's like glue in my mouth, and it takes a lot of effort to swallow it. Yeah, but this also means that Cato is hunting us now. Yeah, and he's got supplies again too, says Peeta. He'll be wounded, I bet, I say. What makes you say that? Peeta asks. Because Thresh would never have gone down without a fight. He's so strong. I mean, he was so strong. And they were in his territory. Good, says Peeta. The more wounded Cato is, the better for us. I wonder how Foxface is making out. Oh, she's fine, I say peevishly, and I'm still angry at the thought of hiding in the cornucopia when I didn't do it. Yeah, she's probably easier to catch Cato than her. Yeah, maybe they'll catch each other and then we can just go home, says Peeta. But we better be extra careful about the watches. I dozed off a few times. Me too, I admit. But not tonight. We won't. We finish our food in silence, and then Peeta offers to take the first watch. I burrow down into the sleeping bag next to him and pull the hood up over my face to hide it from the cameras. I just need a few moments of privacy where I can let any emotion cross my face without being seen. Under the hood, I say a silent goodbye to Thresh and thank him for my life. I promise to remember him, and if I can, to do something to help his families and Ruse if I win. And then I escape into sleep, comforted by a full belly and the steady warmth of Peeta beside me. When Peeta wakes me later, the first thing I register is the smell of goat cheese. He's holding out half a roll spread with the white creamy stuff and topped with apple slices. Don't be mad, he says. I had to eat again. Here's your half. Oh, good, I say immediately, taking a huge bite. The strong, fatty cheese tastes just like the kind that Prim makes, and the apples are sweet and crunchy. Mmm. We make goat cheese and apple tarts at the bakery, he says. Yeah, I bet that's expensive, I say. Yeah, too expensive for my family to eat unless it's gone very stale. Of course, practically everything we eat is stale, says Peeta, pulling up the sleeping bag around him, and in less than a minute, he's snoring. Huh. I always assumed that the shopkeeper lived a soft life. And it's true, Peeta always has had enough to eat, but there's something kind of depressing about living your life on stale bread, the hard, dry loaves that no one else wanted. One thing about us, since I bring our food home on a daily basis, is that most of it is fresh, and you have to make sure it isn't going to make a run for it. Somewhere during my shift, the rain stops, not gradually, but all at once. The downpour ends, and there's only residual drippings of water from the branches, the rush of the now overflowing stream below us. A full, beautiful moon emerges, and even without the glasses, I can see outside. I can't decide if the moon is real or maybe it's a projection of the game makers. I know it was full shortly before I left home. Gale and I watched it rise as we hunted late into the night. How long have I been gone? I'm guessing it's been about 2 weeks in the arena, and there was a week of preparation in the capital. Maybe the moon has completed its cycle. For some reason, I badly want this to be my moon, the same one I see from the woods around District 12. That would give me something to cling to in the surreal world of the arena. The authenticity of everything here is to be doubted. 4 of us left. For the first time, I allow myself to think about the possibility that I might make it home, to fame, to wealth, to my own house in the Victor's village. My mother and Prim would live there with me, of course. No more fear of hunger, a new kind of freedom. But then what? What would my life be like on a daily basis? Most of it's consumed with the acquisition of food. Take that away and I'm not really sure who I am. What is my identity? The idea scares me some, and I think of Hamish with all his money. What did his life become? He lives alone, no wife, no children. Most of his waking hours he's drunk. I don't want to end up like that. But you won't be alone, I whisper to myself. I would have my mother and Prim, well, for the time being, and then I don't want to think about then when Prim has to grow up and my mother's passed away. I know I'll never marry. I'll never risk bringing a child into this world, because if there's one thing being a victor doesn't guarantee, that's your child's safety. My kid's name would go right into the reaping balls with everyone else's, and I swear I'll never let that happen. Yeah, are you okay? What's the matter? Are you gonna start grumbling here in a second? You're good. The sun eventually rises, its light slipping through the cracks and illuminating Peeta's face. Who will he transform into if we make it home? This perplexing, good-natured boy who can spin lies out so convincingly that the whole of Panem believes him to be hopelessly in love with me. And I'll admit it, there are moments when he does make me believe it, and believe in myself. Well, at least we'll be friends, I think. Nothing will change the fact that we've saved each other's lives in here, and beyond that, he'll always be the boy with the bread. Good friends. And anything beyond that, and I feel Gale's gray eyes watching me and watching Peeta all the way from District 12. Discomfort causes me to move. I scoot over and shake Peeta's shoulders. His eyes open sleepily, and when they focus on me, he pulls me down for a long kiss. We're wasting hunting time, I say when I finally break away. I wouldn't call it wasting, he says, giving a big stretch as he sits up. All right, so do we hunt on empty stomachs to give us an edge or something? No, not us, I say. We stuff ourselves to give ourselves power, staying power. All right, count me in, says Peeta. But I can see that he's surprised when I dive into the rest of the stew and divide it up with the rice and give him a heaping plate. All of this? Yeah, we'll earn it back today, I say, and we both plow into our plates. Even cold, it's one of the best things I've ever tasted. I abandon my fork and scrape up the last dabs of gravy with my fingers. I can feel Effie Trinket shuddering at my manners. Hey, Effie, what's this? Says Peta, and he tosses the fork over his shoulder and literally licks his plate clean with his tongue, making loud, satisfied sounds. And then he blows a kiss out in her general direction and calls, "We miss you, Effie." I cover his mouth with mine, but I'm laughing. Stop it. Cato could be right outside our cave. And he grabs my hand away. Why do I care? I've got you to protect me now, says Peta, pulling me into him. Come on, I say in exasperation, extricating myself from his grasp, but not before he gets another kiss. Once we're packed up and standing outside our cave, our mood shifts to serious. It's as though the last few days sheltered by the rocks and the rain and Cato's preoccupation with Thresh were just a respite, a holiday of sorts. And now, although the day is sunny and warm, we both sense that we're really back in the games, and I hand Peta my knife since whatever weapons he had are long gone, and he slips it into his belt. My last 7 arrows of the 12 that I sacrificed 3 of into the explosion, 2 at the feast. My last 7 arrows. Of the 12, I sacrificed 3 in the explosion and 2 at the feast, and they rattle a little bit too loosely in the quiver. I can't afford to lose any more. He'll be hunting us by now, says Peta. Cato isn't one to wait for his prey to wander by. I wonder if he's wounded, I begin. It won't matter, Peta breaks in. If he can move, he's coming. With all the rain, the stream has overrun its banks by several feet on either side. We stop there to replenish our water. I check the snares that I set days ago and come up empty. Not surprising with the weather. Besides, I haven't seen many animals or signs of them in this area. If we want food, we better head back up to my old hunting grounds, I say. Your call, just tell me what you need me to do, says Peta. Well, keep an eye out, I say. Stay on the rocks as much as possible. No sense in leaving him tracks to follow. And listen, you've got to listen for both of us. It's clear at this point that the explosion has destroyed the hearing in my left ear for good. I'd walk into the water to cover our tracks completely, but I'm not sure Peta's leg could take the current. Although the drugs have erased the infection, he is still pretty weak. My forehead hurts along the knife cut, but after 3 days, the bleeding has stopped. I wear a bandage around my head, though, just in case the physical exertion should bring it back. As we head up alongside the stream, we pass the place where I found Peta camouflaged in the weeds and in the mud. One good thing, between the downpour and the flooded banks, all the signs of his hiding place have been wiped out, and that means, if need be, we can come back to our cave. Otherwise, I wouldn't risk it with Cato after us. The boulders diminish to rocks that have eventually turned to pebbles, and then to my relief, we're back on pine needles and the gentle incline of the forest floor. For the first time, I realize that we have a problem. Navigating this rocky terrain with a bad leg, well, you're naturally going to make some noise, but even on the smooth bed of needles, Peta is loud, and I mean like loud, as if he's stomping his feet or something, and I turn to look at him. What? He says. You've got to move more quietly, I say. Forget about Cato. You're chasing off every rabbit in a 10-mile radius. Oh, really? He says. Sorry, I didn't know. So we start up again and he's a tiny bit better, but even with only one working ear, he's making even me jump. Hey, can you take your boots off? I suggest. Here? He asks in disbelief, as if I'd asked him to walk barefoot on hot coals or something. I have to remind myself that he's not used to the woods and that it's scary. It's a forbidden place beyond the fences of District 12. And I think of Gale with his velvet tread, and it's eerie how little sound he makes even when the leaves have just fallen, and it's a challenge to move without chasing off game. I feel certain that he's laughing at us back home. Yeah, I say patiently, I will too, and that way we'll both be quieter, like I was making any noise before. So we strip off our boots and our socks, and while there's some improvement, I could swear he's making an effort to snap every branch that we encounter. Needless to say, although it takes several hours to reach my old camp with Rue, I've shot nothing. If the stream would settle down, fish might be an option, but the current is still too strong. As we stop to rest and drink water, I try to work out a solution. Ideally, I'll dump Peta now with some simple root gathering chore, and then I'll go hunt. But then he'd be left with only a knife to defend himself against Cato's spear and superior strength. So what I'd really like to try is to conceal him somewhere safe, and then I'll go hunt and I'll come back and collect him. But I have feelings that his ego isn't going to go for that suggestion. Hey, Katniss, he says, I think we need to split up. I know I'm chasing away the game. It's only because your leg is hurt, I say generously, but really you can tell that's only a small part of the problem. I know, he says. So why don't you go on? Show me some plans to gather, and that way we'll both be useful. It won't be useful if Cato comes and kills you. I try to say it in a nice way, but it sounds like I think he's nothing but a weakling. Surprisingly, he just laughs. Look, I can handle Cato. I fought him off before, didn't I? Yeah, and that turned out great. You ended up dying. Sorry. Yeah, and that turned out great. You ended up dying in a mud bank. That's what I wanted to say, but I can't. He did save my life by taking on Cato after all, so I try another tactic. Well, what if you climbed up in a tree and you acted as a lookout while I hunt? I say, trying to make it sound like very important work. What if you show me what's edible around here and I go and you go get us some meat? He says in a mimicking tone. Just don't go far, in case you need my help, you know? I sigh and I show him some roots to dig up. We do need food, it's no question. 1 apple, 2 rolls, and a blob of cheese and a plum size that's a size of a plum won't last long. I'll go a short distance and hope that Cato is a long way off. I teach him a bird whistle, not a melody like Rue's, but like a simple 2-note whistle that we can use to communicate that we're all right. Fortunately, he is good at this. Leaving him with the pack, I head off. I feel like I'm 11 again, tethered to not only the safety of the fence, but to PETA. Allowing myself 20, maybe 30 yards of hunting space. Away from him, though, the woods do come alive with animal sounds. Reassured by his periodic whistles, I allow myself to drift farther away, and soon 2 rabbits and a fat squirrel are what I have to show for it. I decided that that's enough. I can set snares, and maybe we can get some fish. With PETA's roots, this is going to be enough for now. As I travel the short distance back, I realize that we haven't exchanged signals in a while. When I whistle and it receives no response, I run. In no time, I find the pack, a neat pile of roots beside it, and the plastic sheet has been laid on the ground where the sun can reach single layers of berries that it covers. But where is he? PETA? I call out in a panic, PETA! And I turn to the rustle of the brush, and I almost send an arrow through him, but fortunately I put my bow down at the last second, and it sinks into the trunk of the oak at his left. He jumps back, flinging a handful of berries into the foliage. My fear comes out as anger. What are you doing? You're supposed to be here, not running around the woods. I found some berries down by the stream, he says, clearly confused by my outburst. I whistled. Why didn't you whistle back? I snap at him. I didn't hear it. I guess the water's too loud, he says, and he crosses and puts his hands on my shoulder, and that's when I feel that I'm trembling. I thought Cato killed you. I almost shout. No, I'm fine. PETA wraps his arms around me, but I don't respond. Hey, Katniss? I push away and try to sort out my feelings. If 2 people agree on a signal, then they stay in range, because if one of them doesn't answer, then we're all in trouble. All right? All right, he says. All right, because that's what happened with Rue, and I watched her die, I say, and I turn away from him and go back to the pack and open a fresh bottle of water, and although I still have some in mind, I'm not ready to forgive him. I notice the food. The rolls and the apples are untouched, but it's definitely picked away at the part of the cheese. Hey, you ate without me? I don't really care, but I want something else to be mad at him about. What? No, I didn't, PETA says. Oh, and I suppose the apples ate the cheese? I say. I don't know what ate the cheese, PETA says slowly and distinctly, as if trying not to lose his temper. But it wasn't me. I've been down by the stream collecting berries. Would you care for some? I would, actually, but I don't want to relent too soon, so I do walk over and look at them. I've never seen this type of berry before. No, I have, but not in the arena. These aren't Rue's berries, although they do resemble them, nor do they match anything that I learned about in training, so I lean down and scoop up a few and roll them between my fingers, and my father's voice comes rushing back to me. No, not these, Katniss. Never these. They're Nightlock. You'll be dead before they reach your stomach. And just then the cannon fires, and I whip around, expecting PETA to collapse to the ground, but he only raises his eyebrow. The hovercraft appears 100 yards or so away, and what's left of Foxface's emaciated body is lifted into the air. I can see the red glint of her hair in the sunlight. I should have known the moment that I saw the missing cheese. PETA has me by the arm, pushing me towards the tree. Climb. He's gonna be here in a second. We stand a better chance of fighting him from above. I stop him, suddenly calm. No, PETA. She's your kill, not Cato's. What? I haven't even seen her since the first date, he says. How could I have killed her? And in an answer, I hold out the berries. I forgot that. You guys, I totally forgot that the berries killed Foxface. I was wondering this whole time how she was gonna go down. Damn. I'm glad they didn't have to kill her, though. That would have felt sad. I know you don't like it when I lean forward, but I just needed a sip of coffee. Yeah. Crazy. All right. Oops. Chapter 24 is next, and that's page 320. Guys, we are so close to the end of this book. We are so close. Oh my God. Whew. Okay. It takes a while to explain the situation to Peeta, how Foxface stole the food from the supply pile before I blew it up, how she tried to take enough to stay alive but not enough that anyone would notice, how she wouldn't question the safety of the berries that we were preparing to eat ourselves. I wonder how she found us, says Peeta. It's my fault, I guess, if I'm as loud as you say. We were about as hard to follow as a herd of cattle, but I try to be kind to him. Well, she is very clever, Peeta. Well, she was very clever, that is, until you outfoxed her. Not on purpose. It doesn't seem fair somehow. I mean, we both would have been dead too if she hadn't eaten the berries first. He checks himself. No, of course, no, we wouldn't, because you recognized the berries, didn't you? I give a nod. Yeah, we call them Nightlock. Even the name sounds deadly, he says. I'm sorry, Katniss. I really thought that these were the same ones that you gathered. No, don't apologize. It means we're one step closer to home, right? I ask. And I get rid of the rest. I will, says Peeta. He gathers up the sheet of blue plastic and carefully traps the berries inside and goes to toss them in the woods. Wait, I cry, and I find the leather pouch that belonged to the boy from District 1 and fill it with a few handfuls of the berries from the plastic. If they fooled Foxface, maybe they can fool Cato as well. If he's chasing us or something like that and we act like we accidentally dropped the pouch, maybe he'll eat them. And then hello, District 12, says Peeta. That's it, I say, securing the pouch to my belt. He'll know we're out here now, says Peeta. If he was anywhere nearby and saw that hovercraft, well, he'll know that we killed her and come after us. I know, Nagisa, it's crazy. It gets crazier every moment. Guys, when I'm done with this chapter, remind me to tell you something I saw today that's hilarious. It's related to the Hunger Games. Peeta's right. This could be just the opportunity that Cato's been waiting for, but even if we run now, there's meat to cook, and our fire will be another sign of our whereabouts. Let's make a fire, right now. I begin to gather the branches in the bush. Are you ready to face him? Peeta asks. Well, I'm ready to eat. Better to cook our food while we have the chance. And if he knows where we are, well, he knows. And he also knows that there's two of us, and he probably assumes that we were hunting Foxface, and that means that you're recovered, and the fire means we're not hiding, we're inviting him here. Would you show up? I ask. Maybe not, he says. Peeta's a whiz with fires, coaxing the blaze out of the damp wood, and in no time, the rabbits and the squirrels are roasting, the roots wrapped in leaves, baking on the coals, and we take turns gathering greens and keeping careful watch for Cato, but as I anticipated, he doesn't make an appearance. When the food's cooked, I pack most of it up, leaving us each a rabbit leg to eat as we walk. I want to move into higher woods, climb a good tree, and make camp for the night, but Peeta resists. I can't climb like you, Katniss, especially with my leg. I don't think I could ever fall asleep 50 feet above the ground as it is. It's not safe to stay out in the open, Peeta, I say. Well, can we go back to the cave? He asks. It's near the water. It's easy to defend. I sigh. Several more hours of walking, or should I say crashing, through the woods to reach an area we'll just have to leave in the morning to hunt. But Peeta doesn't ask for much. He did follow my instructions all day, and I'm sure if things were reversed, he wouldn't make me spend the night in a tree. And it dawns on me that I haven't been very nice to Peeta today. Nagging him about how loud he was, screaming at him over disappearing, the playful romance that we sustained in the cave has disappeared out in the open, under the hot sun, with the threat of Cato looming over us. Hamish has probably had just about enough with me. And for the audience, eesh. So I reach up, and I give him a kiss. Yeah, sure, I say. Let's go back to the cave. He looks pleased and relieved. Oh, well that was easy. I work my arrow out of the oak, careful not to damage the shaft of it. The arrows are food, their safety, their life itself now. We toss a bunch more wood on the fire. It should be sending off smoke for a few more hours, although I doubt Cato assumes anything at this point. When we reach the stream, I see that the water has dropped considerably and moves at an old, leisurely pace, so I suggest we walk back along it. Peeta's happy to oblige since he's a lot quieter in the water than on land. It's a double good idea. It's a long walk back to the cave, though, even going downward, even with the rabbit to give us a boost. We're both exhausted by our hike today and way underfed. I keep my bow loaded for both Cato and any fish that I might see, but the stream is strangely empty of creatures. By the time we reach our destination, our feet are dragging and the sun sits low on the horizon. We fill up our water bottles and climb the little slope to our den. It's not much, but out here in the wilderness, it's the closest thing we have to home. It'll be warmer than a tree, too, because it provides some shelter from the wind that's begun to blow steadily in from the west. I set a good dinner out, but halfway through Peeta begins to nod off. After days of inactivity, the hunt has taken its toll. I order him to roll into the sleeping bag, and I set aside the rest of the food for when he wakes. He drops off immediately. I pull the sleeping bag up to his chin and kiss his forehead, not for the audience, but for me, because I'm so grateful that he's still here and not dead by the stream as I thought he was. So glad that I don't have to face Cato alone. Brutal, bloody Cato who could snap a neck with a twist of his arm, who had the power to overcome Thresh, who has had it out for me since the beginning. He probably has a special hatred for me since I outscored him in training. A boy like Peeta would simply shrug something like that off, but I have a feeling that it drove Cato to distraction, which is not that hard. I think of his ridiculous reaction to finding the supplies blown up. The others were upset, of course, but he was completely unhinged. I wonder now if Cato might not be entirely sane. The sky lights up with a seal, and I watch Foxface shine in the sky, and then she disappears from the world forever. He hasn't said it, but I don't think Peeta felt good about killing her, even if it was essential. I can't pretend that I'll miss her, but I do have to admire her. My guess is if they had even given us some sort of test, she would have been the smartest of all the tributes. If, in fact, we had been setting a trap for her, I bet she would have sensed it and avoided the berries. It was Peeta's own ignorance that brought her down. I've spent so much time making sure that I don't underestimate my opponents that I forgot it's just as dangerous to overestimate them as well. And that brings me back to Cato. But while I think that I had a sense of who Foxface is, who she was, and how she operated, he's a little more slippery. He's powerful, he's well-trained, but smart? I don't know, not like she was. And he's utterly lacking in the control that Foxface demonstrated. I believe Cato that could easily lose his judgment in a fit of temper. Not that I can feel superior on that point. I think of the moment that I set the arrow flying into the apple in the pig's mouth when I was so enraged. Maybe I actually do understand Cato better than I think I did. Despite the fatigue in my body, my mind is alert, so I let Peeta sleep long past our usual switch. In fact, a soft gray day has begun to rise when I shake his shoulders. He looks out, almost in alarm. Whoa, I slept the whole night? That's not fair, Katniss. You should have woken me up. I stretch. Hey, what's going on? You're making all sorts of sounds. You want out? You want out? You can have out. You want to come up on Mommy's shoulder? You can. Come here. Okay. There you go. Yeah, that's better. I know, right, Stephanie? I don't blame her. Oof. Tell me about it. Let's see. I stretch and burrow down deep into the bag. I'll sleep now. You just wake me if anything interesting happens. But apparently nothing does, because when I open my eyes, it's a bright, hot summer afternoon gleaming through the rocks. Any sign of our friend? I ask, and Peeta shakes his head. No, he's keeping a disturbingly low profile. How long do you think we'll have before the game makers drive us together? I ask. Well, Foxface died almost a day ago, so there's been plenty of time for the audience to place bets and get bored. I guess it could happen at any moment, says Peeta. Yeah, I had a feeling today's the day, I say, and I sit up and look out at the peaceful terrain. I wonder how they're going to do it. Peeta remains silent. There's not really any good answer. Well, until they do, there's no sense of wasting a hunting day. Yeah, but we probably should eat as much as we can, just in case we run into trouble, I say. Peeta packs up... excuse me. Roxy, overactivated cloud slime is actually really hard to fix because it's almost impossible to overactivate cloud slime. I would try lotion, but maybe send a video of what it looks like because it's almost impossible to overactivate cloud slime, so it might not be overactivation. It's like really hard to overactivate cloud slime. You would have had to dump in like a whole cup of activator into one serving of cloud slime to overactivate it, but try lotion. Peeta packs up our gear while I lay out a big meal. The rest of the rabbits, the roots, the greens, and the rolls spread with the last bit of cheese. The only thing I leave in reserve is the squirrel and the apple. It came solid. Oh, it's supposed to come solid. Yeah, cloud slime always comes solid if it's packed properly. It comes really solid like this, and you have to warm it up and spread it out, especially if it had to travel through cold areas. It's always going to feel solid, but it's not actually solid. So cloud slime packs really dense, and that's how you get the best drizzles out of them. You have to pull it and work it until it gets really nice and warm and fluffy, but don't add anything to it because it's in good shape. It like gets really compacted in shipping, but just like get it really, yeah, you're gonna have to work it for a while because you live in a cold area, right? So it needs to be warmed up and it needs to really be worked consistently and get dried out. It probably got really moist in shipping from the condensing of it, but just like stretch it out and do a lot of this motion until it gets loose, if you will. If you want to add lotion to speed up the process, you can, but it will drizzle less good the more lotion you add to it once it gets warmed up. So more lotion equals more cloud creamy and less drizzly. Yes, if your hands are cold, cloud slime. So I learned this way back. We tried to do some outdoor sliming when I worked at Slumu, and it was around this time of year in New York, and we had cloud slime that was perfect when we left the building, and after about 5 minutes outside it was hard as a rock. So it gets, because there's so much water in cloud slime, it has a really low like freezability because of how much more moisture there is in it. So the more it goes through cold temperatures, like in a dry warm climate, cloud slime drizzles really easily, but in a cold wet climate it's like and it hates it. So that it's the science of it, unfortunately. But if you add lotion or warm it up in your hands, if you have warm hands, that will help. Or you know what Kat does, Arbitrary Canary? She puts it in the jar and then she sits on it or sticks it in her shirt because your body is warmer than your hands. So in the jar, just like literally sit on it like you're hatching an egg, and it'll warm it up with your body temperature. So that's good. PETA packs up our gear while I lay out a big meal. The rest of the rabbit, the roots, the greens, the rolls spread with the last bit of cheese. The only thing that I leave in reserve is the squirrel and the apple, and by the time we're done, all that's left is a pile of rabbit bones. My hands are greasy, which only adds to the growling feeling in my stomach. Maybe we don't bathe daily in the seam, but we do keep cleaner than I have as of late. Except for my feet, which have walked in the stream, I'm covered in a layer of grime. That's true. Amanda's exactly right. If you have a rippy or tough cloud, especially if it's an older one, you can add more fake snow. I would try to get the snow to be as fluffy as you can, not wet. Don't get it too wet. Just have it like half activated, and that will help. But this is, if you're opening a brand new one, you should be okay to just warm it up. Leaving the cave has a sense of finality about it. I don't think there will be another night in the arena somehow. One way or another, dead or alive, I have a feeling I'm going to escape today. I give the rocks... Really? What was that sound, my friend? I give the rocks a good pat goodbye, and we head down the stream to wash up. I can feel my skin itching for cool water. I may do my hair and braid it back wet, and I'm wondering if we might even be able to give our clothes a quick scrub down when we reach the stream. Or what used to be the stream, bless you. Now there's only a bone-dry bed, and I put my hands down to feel it. It's not even a little damp, I say. They must have drained it while we slept. Fear cracked my tongue, aching body, and a fuzzy mind is brought on by my dehydration that creeps into my consciousness. Our bottles and skins are fairly full, but with two of us... What? What's that? Good morning. What's the matter? What's the matter? You were right here. Did you just wake up and shock yourself? Did you shock yourself awake? Yeah? Did you shock yourself awake? Oh, Auntie Lainey is here. Say hi. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning. Yeah. I know, honey, I know. Okay, I know, she's growing so fast. It's so true. I saw my husband pick her up out of her crib last night, and I was like, my God, she's huge compared to when you used to do that. All right, where was I? It's not even a little damp. They must have drained it while we slept, I say, a fear of the cracked tongue, aching body, and fuzzy mind brought on by my previous dehydration creeps into my consciousness. Our bottles and skins are fairly full, but with 2 of us drinking and this hot sun, it won't take long to deplete them. The lake, says Peeta. That's where they want us to go. Well, maybe the ponds still have some water, I say hopefully. Yeah, we can check, he says, but he's just humoring me. And I'm humoring myself because I know what I'll find when we return to the pond where I soaked my leg, a dusty, gaping mouth of a hole. But we make the trip anyway just to confirm what we already know. You're right. They're driving us to the lake, I say, where there's no cover, where they're assuming they're guaranteed a bloody fight to the death with nothing to block their view. Do you want to go straight away, or do you want to wait until the water's tapped out? Let's go now while we've had food and rest. Let's just end this thing, he says, and I nod. It's funny. I feel almost as if it's the first day of the games again, that I'm in the same position. 21 tributes are dead, and yet I still have to kill Cato. And really, wasn't he the one to kill always? And now it seems like the other tributes were just minor obstacles, distractions keeping us from the real battle of the games. Cato and me. But there's no boy waiting beside me. But no, there's a boy waiting beside me, and I feel his arms wrap around me. Hey, it's 2 against 1, right? Should be a piece of cake, he says. Next time we eat, we're going to be in the capital, I answer. You bet it will, he says. We stand there a while, locked in an embrace, feeling each other, the sun, the rustle of the leaves at our feet, and then without a word we break apart and we head for the lake. Oh no, she's fine. She doesn't speak English, so this won't give her crazy dreams, because she doesn't know what any of these words mean, you know what I mean? I don't care now that Peeta's footfall sends rodents scurrying and birds take wing. We have to fight Cato. I'd just as soon do it here as on the plain, but I doubt that I'll have that choice. If the game makers want us out in the open, then out in the open we will be. We stop to rest for a few moments under the trees where the careers trapped me. The husk of the tracker jacket nest is there, beaten to a pulp by the heavy rains and dried out in the burning sun. It confirms the location. I touch it with the tip of my boot, and it dissolves into dust that's quickly carried off by the breeze. I can't help looking up into the tree where Ruse secretly was perched, waiting to save my life. Tracker jackers, Glimmer's bloated body, the terrifying hallucinations. Let's move on, I say, wanting to escape the darkness that surrounds this place, and Peeta doesn't object. Given our late start to the day, when we reach the plain, it's already early evening and there's no sign of Cato, no sign of anything except the gold cornucopia glowing in the slanting rays of sun. Just in case Cato decided to pull a fox face on us, we circle the cornucopia to make sure it's empty, and then obediently, as if following instructions, we cross to the lake and we fill our containers. I frown at the shrinking sun. Well, we don't want to have to fight him after dark. There's only 1 pair of glasses. Peeta carefully squeezes drops of iodine into the water. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. What do you want to do? Do you want to, go back to the cave? Well, either that or we have to find a tree, but let's give it another half an hour or so, and then we'll take cover, I answer. And we sit by the lake in full sight. There's no point in hiding now. In the trees at the edge of the plain, I can see the mockingjays flitting about, bouncing melodies back and forth between the brightly colored balls. I open my mouth and I sing Rue's 4-note run, and I can feel them pause cautiously around the sound of my voice. They're listening for more, and I repeat the notes again in silence. First, one mockingjay trills the tune back, and then another, and then the whole world comes alive with that sound. You're just like your father, says Peeta. My fingers find the pin on my shirt. No, that's Rue's song, I say. I think they remember it. The music swells and I recognize the brilliance of it, and as the notes overlap, they complement one another, forming a lovely, unearthly harmony. It was this sound then that, thanks to Rue, sent the orchard workers of District 11 home each night. Does someone start it at quitting time now, I wonder, since she's dead? And for a while, I just close my eyes and listen, mesmerized by the beauty of that song. And then something begins to disrupt that music. Runs cut off in jagged, imperfect lines. Dissonant notes are interspersed with that melody. The mockingjays' voices rise up in the shrieking cry of an alarm. We're on our feet, and Peeta's wielding his knife, me poised to shoot, and then Cato smashes through the trees and bears down on us. He has no spear. In fact, his hands are empty, and yet he runs straight for us. My first arrow hits his chest and inexplicably falls aside. He's got some kind of body armor on, I shout to Peeta, And just in time, too, because Cato is upon us, and I brace myself. He rockets right between us with no attempt to check his speed, and I can tell from his panting, the sweat pouring off of his purple face, that he's been running a long time, not towards us, but from something. But from what? My eyes scan the woods just in time to see the first creature leap onto the plain, and as I'm turning, I see another half a dozen join it, and then I'm stumbling blindly after Cato with no thought of anything but saving myself. Whoa. Woo-wee. Okay, well, that is that, isn't it? What a moment to end on. I forgot about that. Cliffhanger, I know. Okay, so I want to tell you guys a couple of interesting things and something interesting and something terrible and something funny. So the terrible thing is, you know how there was, whoops, you're kicking my coffee? You know how there was the fire alarm testing yesterday? So apparently they didn't finish all the floors yesterday in our building. So they have to finish one of the floors this morning. So we're gonna have to deal with that again for part of this morning. Luckily it's just one more floor. And then they're gonna go on to other buildings. So hopefully we won't have to deal with too much of that awfulness, but it is gonna happen. You guys, the sound was more awful than I remember. I'm sure it's my nervous system being worried about her. It is a giant building. There's like 1,300 apartments in this building. No, I think there's 1,300 apartments in all three buildings put together. Our building is like 500 apartments maybe, I think. We have the smallest of the three buildings. Anyway, they have to go into each individual apartment one by one, which is why it takes so long. So anyway, we're gonna deal with that this morning. I think it starts at 10 a.m. that they're gonna do the 5th floor. It's still a lot, yeah. So that is something to do. The thing that's funny that I wanted to tell you, because we're reading The Hunger Games, have any of you seen the whole thing that's going on Book Talk with the author, Dr. Emily Rath? Do you guys know who she is? She's actually not even a favorite author of mine, but I started following her because her discourse is amazing. So even though I'm not a huge fan of her book, yeah, we will do that, Amanda. We kind of walked around yesterday. So for any of you who don't know, Emily Rath writes these like polyamorous hockey books, which I read one of not knowing that it was a polyamorous hockey book, which is totally fine. The books themselves, they're fine. You know what I mean? They're not awful. They're not great, right? They're just, for me, they're just fine. She, however, is phenomenal, and she now has my support for the rest of her career, regardless of not being my favorite author, because she is on point with her discourse. So somebody came to her and basically in her comments said, and I don't know what the previous video was that they were commenting to, exactly, that's exactly right, Jen. So they basically said, oh, well, I voted for you know who, but I still love your books. And she was like, no, thank you. No, that's what I was about to talk about, Naisa. She was like, we don't want you here. If you voted for, what's his name, Orange Face, we don't want you reading my books. We don't want you on my page. Like, she basically told them, get the F out, essentially, which is hilarious, right? And she's right to do that. I fully support her. And so then people are clapping back at her, trying to be like, well, we don't need you on the right because we have so-and-so and so-and-so. And they said to her today, they said, or I guess it was yesterday, she made a video, they basically said, don't worry, the left can have Emily Rath. We have J.K. Rowling and Suzanne Collins. And granted, they're right. Unfortunately, they do have J.K. Rowling. But Suzanne Collins, the author of The Hunger Games, bro, you 100% do not have Suzanne Collins. And it made me think about reading comprehension and how it's so very clearly lacking. I mean, like, reading comprehension is so clearly lacking, because how you can read The Hunger Games and think that, like, how, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you read The Hunger Games and think that critical thinking is not their strong suit, that is for sure. But how do you read The Hunger Games and think that Suzanne Collins would be, it's like Wicked. Roxy's 100% right. It's just like when Wicked came out and they were like, oh yeah, we're Elphaba. Bro, you're the wizard. Bro, you are the, hey James, you're gonna love this conversation. We're talking about, James is a friend of mine, actually, a very, very good friend who used to be my roommate. For everyone who's here in book club and doesn't know James, he's also hilarious and amazing. Our country is the Hunger Games, but healthcare, yeah, seriously, the healthcare system is the arena. They literally do not understand the point of the Hunger Games at all, or any of it. It's so wild. It's so insane to me that they can look at that and think this, which brings me to another point, okay? So I'm not gonna mention any names here, but I found out yesterday that there are well, I knew one before, but I found out yesterday that there's a couple other people who are very active in my lives and in my comments that are TRUMP supporters, like big ones, even MUSK supporters. And when I found that out, what I said to Liz and Becca was, why would they want to support me? Like, I was shocked. I was like, have they not, like, am I not blatant enough in my opinions? Because I thought I was really clear about my stance. I didn't think I minced words at all. And I don't think, like, you know how there are some people who run businesses who are like, I'm not going to claim a side because I don't want to alienate a side of customers. I will alienate that side of customers. I alienate them openly. I've been very clear about I just made a video on Trans Day of Visibility for that exact reason. I'm not quiet at all. I wore a Kamala hat on election day. You know what I mean? Like, they are aliens, Isabella. You're right. Like, they are not getting what I'm saying. Like, how are they still active on? I just found out yesterday that they're. It's so crazy. But Jen, they've been on my lives and they comment on multiple videos. Well, that's exactly what Becca said, Avery. She said it took her about 0.2 seconds from knowing me to know where I stand and not be concerned, because I'm very clear. So, like, how are they still here and still wanting to buy my stuff? Do they not know that I donate money to LGBTQIA causes on the regular? That I donate money to Planned Parenthood, things like that? I mean, like, they are starting to turn on themselves, Roxy, big time they are. You're absolutely right about that. And like, you know, let the leopards eat their face as far as I'm concerned. But like, isn't that weird? And so, I mean, okay, look, I am no Suzanne Collins by any means. I would not even put myself in the same category as Suzanne Collins as far as, like, she's a genius writer. So that aside, it made me think about her in that moment. Yeah, barely, Jen, right? And only because you probably saw slime videos first. Once you get past the slime videos, you see all of my stances. But like, it's so weird. I was like, I know how she feels in a little way. It's the same people that have the mentality we cannot be friends. You're right, Amanda. They do have that mentality, and it's so strange to me. We cannot be friends. Did you see that one girl that said about the earth, at least we have to, yeah, that's exactly what about Emily. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Jillian. That's what we were talking about. And we were like, they do not have, are they on, they're not on Patreon. No. Yeah, Emily Rath, not Earth. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Have I spoken to them before? I don't think so, Isabella. But they were on live last night. They were with us last night. Suzanne would never. It's very clear from the get-go for me. I was like, get behind this. Yeah, exactly, Julia. They were on the live last night, which is how it came up. They were in Roll for Slime last night. They didn't get a slime. They were just in the comments, but very active. And they've been active on my page for, I want to say, about 2 years. 2 years. How did they miss it over the course of 2 years? Like, if you're new, like, let's pretend you just joined my page yesterday. Okay, I could see how maybe you wouldn't know, because yesterday all I was talking about was the fire alarm and how annoyed I was. 2 years, Liz. 2 years. Yeah, because you guys know I have like a wild memory for when people join the group. Like, you guys know I have like this weird, it's part of my neurospicy, like, it is super cognitive dissonance that they just allow for themselves, and I don't allow it for me, or us, you know. But I only just found out yesterday that they were that. It's a big bummer. Did they say something on the live that took you off? No. They were talking to somebody else on the live that I know, and that person went to their page and did a little recon. See, the thing is, when I only see someone on a live, I don't click on their page because I'm busy doing the live. So I just talk to people in the live. I use Context Clues to Uncovered. I also those videos. Yeah, of course, Brittany. But actually found you first in 2021. They found you this year. Oh, well, probably because you're young, right? That's what happened, Isabella. But well, people like Isabella and Julia are from different countries, so it's different for them because they don't even exist in our country, and they still know the audacity of this. I mean, think about it, you guys. Isabella is a teenager who is from the UK, and even she understands that we are living in the Hunger Games, which makes me wonder how these adults are just... It's crazy. You are smarter than a lot of adults in America. It's a fact. You are also smarter than a lot of adults in America. The audacity that we're dealing with. Yeah, it's I love making fun of the people who didn't like... Oh, that's fair, Isabella. That does happen. It happened the other day to my goddaughter. But anyway, so this was just one of our talking points for the day, was the cognitive dissonance. It is definitely more obvious to a lot of non-Americans. That's true. Does it ever crack anyone else up the way that babies sleep in like the most ridiculous of positions? I mean, he should be worried, Jen. They sleep like, I mean, like, what is going on with, why is she sleeping in this? Like, her body is a C. It's so ridiculous. I'm like, how are you comfortable? And they're like, I'm comfortable. And I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, as long as your airway is clear, I don't care. I have communicate. Wait, hold on. I want to see what Amber said because I think it's important. Yes, Amber, same. I have some cousins, not from my mom's side, from my, she still does it at 14, that's hilarious, from my stepdad's side, my brother and sister's family, that I had to block on social media because they are too far. And the thing is that it's sad is that they have kids who I've given slime to. I'm not sure about sliming tonight, Lainey. Yeah, I would be hurting for a month after sleeping like that. Yeah, it's true. But they're fine. But like, I have cousins who have kids who I've given slime to. They message me all the time telling me how much their kids love my slime and stuff like that. But I had to block them because they're just too far. Too far. There's a line. There's definitely a line. You hear all the puppies? Are you waking up now because the puppies are making noises? What do you think they're making all that noise for out there? Oh, you're falling back asleep. Okay, great. Those are loud puppies, huh? Uh-huh, yeah. So anyway, those were our talking points for the day. I know, me too. I could just watch her sleep all day. It's so cute. But she is in among the more ridiculous positions right now. Okay, so it is not, well, you know what, Amber, you bring up a really interesting point that I'm going to, so you all know, well, you maybe some of you don't know, I was raised in a very religious home, but I am not religious. I have worked my way out of religion. I worked it out in the early parts of my adult life in school and things like that, but I was raised religious. And my brother and I always try to remind people that Bible verse, blood is thicker than water, has actually been misread because people cut it off at the blood is thicker than water part of the verse, but there's actually more to that verse, which actually implies that that it's not. You know what I mean? So it's interesting actually because that verse has been misconstrued. Not that I put any weight into what the Bible has to say, unless you're just taking it as a morality tale, which is what it really is, which is fine. I mean, like, right, morality tales, fine, like, whatever. I don't consider them religion, but like fairy tales are morality tales as well, and I love those, you know. Bare minimum relationship with my dad who does it. Yes. Yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head what the rest of the verse is, but there is more to that verse, and blood is not thicker than water. Just because that's what I've been told by those family members, for sure, Amber. And say, you are so cute. You make the cutest sounds on this planet. So you want to hear something hilarious? I had a dream last night that Amber was in a book of things that can be translated in a different way. Should not be treated as fact. Agreed, Kyle. It should not be treated as fact. Just a morality tale. Just a freaking morality tale. And that's fine. It can be a morality work of fiction. I'm okay with that. That's all good. We don't have to live and die by it, I had a dream that Amber was mad at me. Isn't that funny? Do you want to know how neurospicy I am? I had a dream that Amber was mad at me because I didn't make her slime the other day, even though she opted to go tomorrow instead of the other day. But in the dream, she was like, you didn't do my slime in the after dark. And I was like, but it hasn't happened yet. I was so upset. It's not true. Amber's not mad at me. She opted to go tomorrow. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet, so how could she be angry? She's not mad because she chose it. Slime stress dreams. Yes, it's true. As you can see, she's here and she's not mad. Did you have to message her and make sure she's not really mad? It just happened last night and I hadn't had a chance to message her yet, and she's here, so I'm able to see that she is talking to me and seems not to be angry. But it is funny, right? I also had a dream last night that was a good one. I've been having a lot of really bad nightmares having to do with the safety of this little lady ever since the accident. But I had a dream last night that there was a nurse in our home, and the nurse was telling me that we were giving her a good home and that she's a happy, healthy baby who lives well. So I was like, well, that was a nice dream. My friend called me apologizing for something that happened in a dream. That's funny. Wait, what did Liz say? I want to see what Liz say. The phrase about covenant connections, like a treaty, not family blood. Exactly right. That is true, what Liz is saying. The Bible verse is actually about connections of, like, holding your word, essentially, like keeping your word. Yeah. So anyway, and we should do that. You should keep your word. I agree with that part. It would spill animal blood to make a bond. Exactly. Yeah. Keep having dreams. I'm having four boys. 4 boys. I do not wish quadruplets on you, Stephanie. I wish a singleton or maybe at most twins on you. I do not wish 4 on you. That sounds like too much. Sounds like too much. I mean, how would you even? Yeah, that does sound like a nightmare. Yeah, singleton wishes. Yes, exactly. 4 at once is too many. Some people we know have 4 kids. I actually know a lot of people who have 4 kids, but not 4 at once. Even Becca's 3 at once is just a lot. I have dreams that I'm pregnant and sometimes with a girl, and it's an absolute, oh, that's so sweet, Isabella. Well, I dreamed that for many years, so when you're old enough, I hope that dream comes true for you. Yeah. When you're the right age, that sounds like a great dream to have come true. But not right now. Enjoy your youth. Enjoy it. 4 total is cool. 4 at once is not cool. I agree. Yes. All right. Well, I am going to go because the alarm is going to start any second, and I don't want you guys to have to hear it. Grew up with 3 siblings, and we have the least of all my cousins. Same, Jen. Except, well, okay. So on my mom's side of the family, there are 3 of us, and we're actually the largest group because both of my aunts only have 1 kid each. But on my stepdad's side, they have more kids. But also, it's just a different way of growing up. I used to dream of having a boy. If I had a girl now, yeah, I mean, it's possible, and anything's possible. Like, I mean, we have a daughter right now, but who knows what will end up in the future. She doesn't have any opinions right now, so we don't know what she's, I mean, she doesn't know what she is right now. She just knows she's a baby. So we'll see what she decides in the future. But whatever it is, that's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. Whatever you choose, you can be a princess or you can be a prince or something else in between. Whatever you want. I have 3 brothers and uncle also has 4 kids, and we're all around the same. That's awesome, Avery. That's really good for them. I can't wait. She's actually going to see a lot of cousins this weekend. That's exciting, huh? Yeah. Are you excited to see Zoe and Ethan in Austin? Yeah. She's like, I'm asleep, Mom. I'm not excited for anything except sleep and milk, which is fair. Okay, I'm going to go so that you guys don't have to hear the alarm. Wish me luck making it through, them finishing the alarm testing, and depending on how Secret Husband's meetings go this evening, I will either be on tonight or not. Oh my God, I know, right, Amanda? I'll have to tell you guys privately. But I'll either see you this evening or tomorrow morning, and then we have After Dark tomorrow either way. So, okay. Bye guys, I'll see you later.